Hi, welcome to Musicians World in the studio. We're sitting here with my paisano, Mike DiPippo. Mike, how you doing today?
All right.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Zephyrus project, as well as an instrument that Mike brought into the studio today, which is called?
The theremin.
The theremin. What is it now? A biorhythm feedback?
Yeah, biofeedback.
It's a great instrument. His dad built it, and he's going to play it for you a little bit later on in the show. But Mike, let's talk about the Zephyrus project.
Well, it's something that I kind of conceived in '86, and I was still living in Boston then. And it was kind of like back and forth, you know. I was deciding, well, I wanted to write symphonies for the rest of my life, but you can't, you know, survive off of that. You know, even a commission, when you get in commission, Billy pays the players and you go home.
Right.
But I also love the heavy stuff, like, you know, metal and an old Black Sabbath head and all that stuff. So I started playing out players around there when I was going to Berkeley, my last year there. And then it developed along the way, and I went through all kinds of players. And I ended up playing all the tracks myself because I got disgusted with the drugs and the laziness and people wanting a free ride and not wanting to pay their dues.
Right.
And if I would have kept going with that, it would have taken forever. So I cut all the tracks myself, and the first album was recorded from '89 to '90 and released in '90, and then I have a remix version released in '91. And then there was some breaks, some personal stuff to get straightened out. And in bits and pieces along the way, I pieced together this new album, Lethal Paranoia. And it's edge metal, and as far as the edge music scene goes, I started it. I get the rights on it going back to 1988. I have all the paperwork.
Right.
That, the Zephyrus, the whole deal. So you got the guy who started it on this show.
Definitely. Only the best talent comes to Musicians World. Now, Mike, you were up at Berkeley?
Yeah, I went there.
Can you tell us a little bit about your education?
Well, I started in '75 playing drums, and I chased after the best. It wasn't easy, it was costly, very time-consuming, but it paid off very well. I studied a lot of theory besides playing by ear, because there's so many that, like, you see, oh, I just play by ear, but the thing is that, you know, you tell Mozart or Beethoven that.
Right.
They had to be able to write down what they felt and what they heard. And I just worked. I mean, when I went to Berkeley, I tested in so high, the places was a joke to me. I had to go home and get arrangements and come back and dump them out on the guy's desk to get into the right classes.
Is that right? Because I went to Berkeley and it was no joke to me, man. it was extremely hard. So, Mike, I know you're very talented, you're very brilliant, and do you find, like, you started off on the drums, so that would help your rhythm and your percussive skills, and then you went into Berkeley and that helped your composition skills?
Well, I was studying composition before I went to Berkeley. Right. I was writing concert band pieces and, you know, a lot of brass stuff and woodwind stuff with percussion. And I studied strings, but didn't have a lot of access to it till I got there. Do you feel
like it's a God-given talent, or is it something you really worked hard for?
I don't know. I think anybody, if you want to do it, and you want to do the work, you can do it. It depends on the individual.
You got to apply yourself.
Yeah. It depends on how your life is, too. Like some people, their life sometimes isn't set up for it. Some have the opportunity and blow it off because they don't want to do the work.
Right.
You know?
Well, you got to practice. Practice makes perfect.
Oh, yes, constantly. I mean, you know, 8, 10 hours, 12 hours sometimes.
Right.
You know?
Especially in the beginning when you first get started, it's almost addictive, where you want to play that long. And then you reach a certain level where you really should practice that long. And then after you've reached them 2 levels, then you can just, more or less, just pick up your instrument and play, and that keeps you loose and in tune to what's going on.
Yeah, well, you go through stages, like, you know, you practice until your eyes are popping out of your head, and then you take time out and just play and think about the material, you know, and keep your chops up. Then you go back and just, like, study till your head explodes again, and then do stuff along the way in bits and pieces. You know, if I could right now, I'd trash everything I'm doing and take out 5 years and go back and just study again or write books on new theories.
And, you know, your dad built this machine that you're going to play.
Yep.
And how long did it take him to build it?
Oh, I don't know, maybe about no more than an hour.
An hour?
But it took days of experimentation to get the right settings.
Right.